But it's just general. Like, here's my credit card. Yes, I'm gonna have a car, which is $35 a day. But that's all right.
Dude, that's ridiculous, dude. That's like a Motel 6 day.
I feel like just because of that, like I almost want to take the car out every day. Just go for a drive.
It's killing me. I know.
I
hate
because I'm gonna want in and out. I'm gonna want to in and out. Like I'm gonna want to do some other stuff. But like that's the problem I'm gonna have when I get there. Like I'm gonna be like, nope, I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm staying in the bubble.
No, we'll see. It's gonna go so. I'm just worried because it's gonna go so fast. It's gonna go so fast.
It's not gonna go.
What day do you guys get back?
Saturday. I get back on the 9th.
Oh, okay.
Like Saturday to Saturday.
Oh my god, yeah. I booked the brutal like 10 o'clock at night, like a red eye basically. And my plane is like, I know I land at 5 in the morning.
See, I get in at like 7 in the evening because I know that way I can go to bed and then hopefully Sunday I can get up and just work.
I think I'm just gonna go to bed and then to like 2, eat something to eat, get something to eat, watch some golf, adjust to the time change a little bit, and go to bed at a normal time because I'll be so freaking tired.
Yeah, that's true. I know we'll be going. Oh, hang on, get this. Where's the Twitter? Where's TweetDeck? Tweet.
I didn't say this yesterday, but like my strategy for when you fly out there, I tried to adjust to the time change. I tried to do an hour a day, so day 1, like I'm going to adjust like 1 hour. Then the next day I adjust another hour. Then on day 3, I'm on Pacific Coast time.
What do you mean? How do you adjust
like just try to like wake up, like try to sleep in an hour later on the first day,
Okay. I'll try
that. I don't know. It's just something I try. I mean, I try to do it. I just don't always do it.
Got it.
So I thought about that, Wade. So if I come in, because I always golf on Sundays, I'm almost tempted to tell my brother, like book a tea time and I'll meet you here. And I'll just take my clubs. I'll meet you here. Like I'll be on no sleep, but let's just go. Let's play golf.
Wear it out. No, so my problem is though, I don't know if you're like this, but like I set my alarm for 5:18 every morning, but I cannot tell you the last time that my alarm has gone off. I automatically wake up before my alarm. And I mean, I'm honest to God, probably in the last 3 months, it's gone off once because I always wake up and it's always after 5, before 5:18. It's like real. My body is like tuned to know when to get up. It's crazy.
That is. Yeah. So you got that internal clock basically. So that's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on how hard you go the first day. Like if you are used to going to bed at like 10 o'clock, it's going to be 7 o'clock.
I know.
Not 8 o'clock for you.
8 o'clock. I know, but dude, I do go to bed at 10 o'clock. I am worried about that. I'll be struggling at the end, but we'll make it. It'll be cool.
That's why I wish they had the early entry right now, because like, dude, seriously, I'd had no problem getting there like an hour early. We'd be the first one at that gate. We'd have our Starbucks or Panera because we sometimes will stay off site where there's a Panera attached to it. We'd just be having breakfast, first ones to go.
I'll be on the struggle bus that first night, but it'll be fine. I'll be. Let's do it. So we have questions. So if you have questions, put those in the live chat and we will answer those. And Hawaii, I can't even imagine. Holy cow.
Hawaii is a whole other animal. Let me tell you.
That'd be totally messed up.
Yeah.
But it's totally worth it. I can't wait.
It is totally worth it.
Yeah, it'd be totally worth it.
It's totally.
I saw that Jay met up with the Millers today. It was kind of cool to see.
He did. Although the thing is you end up waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But usually the island shuts down at like 9 o'clock anyway. So it really is Mike Rollman time, to be perfectly honest.
Definitely sounds like paradise to me.
But you certainly struggle. Like I've had dinners at like 7 o'clock, and I'm like, oh goodness, I cannot stay away. Like I'm struggling through dinner. So
is it Monday again? I feel like we just did this.
I know.
I feel like
it's Monday. It's Monday on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Levels look pretty decent.
And I'm already hungry. Just like yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Guess what, Mike Rollman? Guess what I have for dinner tonight? It is not Taco Bell.
Raising Cane's.
No.
I want Raising Cane's.
We're getting a Raising Cane's actually.
Yeah, we have the street.
You will never guess because it is a St. Louis delicacy and it is not toaster ravioli and it is not Emo's.
Are you having the St. Louis Bread Company?
No, I'm not.
Go ahead.
I'm having Pasta House.
You're getting Pasta House in Atlanta?
Brian actually was in St. Louis yesterday. And so he stopped at the airport. Like they have a Pasta House in the airport.
Yep.
and he stopped and brought home Pasta House for me, and I'm so excited. So, Pasta House.
What do you get from pasta? I always get the lasagna.
Spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
With extra sauce. So.
And here's the good thing about pasta in general, though. It's usually better like the second day. Like
I know. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So.
All right, let's do this.
That's marriage right there.
Yeah.
Like Ricky, you're notoriously known for pocket
home.
biscuits, like no way Jose's. And now you've trained your husband to do the same thing for you.
Same thing for me with pasta and the St. Louis airport. Yeah, pretty much. He totally brought that on the plane.
Match made in heaven for sure. Right there. That's all I got to say about that. All right, here we go. So everybody, obviously, we know it's not Monday, and we know that obviously we already recorded this week's Wednesday and Friday show. This is for next week, as we will be out at Disneyland. We're recording a week ahead, so we don't miss any shows. So
this is for July 13th, right here.
This is for
July 6th. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's the 6th.
I'm thinking way ahead.
You are thinking way ahead.
Yeah, the 6th. Hang on, let me get my notes out. I should probably get my notes out so I know what I'm doing here. Okay, yeah, July 6th. There, we'll write that down. It's 2115. 76. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 2115 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel, but I'm on vacation. I'm off this week and I am currently at Disneyland. So give us a follow at the old hashtag BOGP at DL. So BOGP DL to follow myself and Scotty G as we are in the middle of an epic Disneyland vacation. And we'll be giving you all the coverage. We'll be going live on Instagram, maybe here on Facebook and YouTube. Who knows what'll happen, but follow all the adventures along. But we're recording a little bit early. We never want to leave you without a podcast here on the feed. So joining me today to answer your listener questions, we have Ricky from the mouseforless.com. And Ricky, we had the 4th of July on Monday, and I hope all digits are still intact. I hope you had a great 4th of July.
Yeah, my parents were here, so we had a very nice time hanging out and doing all kinds of Atlanta things. So getting to experience some fireworks here. It's interesting. The town we live in does fireworks the night before, so we went and saw those, and then on the 4th we were kind of looking for where to go because our normal spot, they aren't doing fireworks anymore. So that's kind of the challenge. It's when COVID hit, they nixed the fireworks where we usually go. So and the place that they have it at now, you actually have to pay to get in to see the fireworks, and I'm like, I'm not paying to see these fireworks. So
stand back and you'll probably see them for free. I mean,
exactly. So thanks, but no thanks. So yeah, figuring that out was a challenge, but it was a good time.
All right. Also joining us from up in the mitten, but he is with me right now with his family, my family. We are at the Disneyland Resort. We have hashtag Scotty G. What's up, Scott?
Hey, Mike. Happy Wednesday. Wasn't it so nice for Ricky to FaceTime us the fireworks from Atlanta like 3 hours before we saw them in Disneyland Park? That was really nice of her to do.
Yeah. If anything, I would say could you FaceTime me the fireworks from Disneyland on the 4th, but whatever.
I don't know, it'd be like 1 a.m. for you, but yeah,
that's
sure.
All right. It's fine.
She's kind of a night owl, but yeah, we are at Disneyland, so of course we're recording early. What do you expect we are doing right now as we fill our listeners' ear holes as they're tuned in?
I think we're eating some chilaquiles right now.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think we're having some breakfast right now. Tearing up some chilaquiles, kind of thinking about the next move we're gonna do. Maybe we're gonna go to Pirates of the Caribbean afterwards.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But before we do that and get to more Disneyland fun, we have to answer some questions. And we have Liana here in the live chat with us. And she has a question. She says, we're thinking about doing a trip to the Redwoods and Kings Canyon in September of next year. I was thinking of ending the trip with a few days at Disneyland. Is Disneyland like Disney World with their deposit and final payment, $200 down and final payment 45 days before arrival? And is it worth it to stay on property at land? Okay, first of all, it is a $200 deposit for packages. And just like Walt Disney World, final payment's 30 days. It's 30 days at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, so it's a month out. I always tell my guests 31, just so we have a little wiggle room. Just give you 24 hours notice, just so we're safe, so I can sleep better at night. But it is 30 days and staying on property. So we are, it's my first time to Disneyland right now. We're staying at the Disneyland Hotel because I was like, I got to do this, right? It's my first time. I want to stay. I could have stayed at any of the three, but I wanted to stay at the Disneyland Hotel because I thought that was the place to be as a Disney fan. But Scott, I know you've stayed offsite and you rave. I think you stay at the Fairfield sometimes, and you say it's just fine to have that experience offsite as well. You've said that, I think.
Yep, it absolutely is. I really like the Fairfield there on Harbor. You'll hear this a lot, that a lot of the Good Neighbor hotels are actually closer sometimes to the Disneyland security gates, and they can be. But to me, I mean, it just depends on what you're looking for in your vacation. Like I've done like really quick trips out there where like that's going to make financial sense, right? To save a few bucks and stay off site, still get the great experience in the parks. But I just, as a Walt Disney World guy, I just love the resorts. I love just soaking in that atmosphere, waking up on Disney property, taking a short walk over. There's just something magical about it. So I would just say like, it just depends on what you want to do financially. If you can swing it to stay on site, I think there's so many great benefits to doing so. And that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, the way I kind of see it is, and you mentioned it, like if you're a fan of the resorts, like when I go to Walt Disney World, I first started going to Walt Disney World as a theme park fan, as kind of an amusement park fan, actually, kind of somebody who was like a Six Flags type guy. And now I've gone into more of the theme park, and now more the resort is where it's at for me. Like I like going to the theme parks, but I like going to the yacht club and hanging out there for a while, then bouncing over to the Grand and hopping over to Wilderness Lodge to Geyser Point. It's really about the resort experience. So I think that now that I'm kind of at that point in my journey with my vacationing, I think that's why the on-site hotels are going to be better for me. But if you're somebody who's there to just going to Disneyland, Disney's California Adventure, I think those off-site Good Neighbor hotels can suit you well. So Ricky, what would you say to this?
Well, I mean, I've done both. So I have stayed off site and I have stayed on site. As you said, there are certainly benefits to both. The walk, not having to deal with a whole lot from the Disneyland Hotel was fantastic. I enjoyed that a lot. But you are correct. Some of those Disneyland resort area hotels are actually closer to the main gates. I've stayed at hotels where they actually like drop you off. There's a bus area right next door. They drop you off there, and it was so quick to get to the parks. So I, like you say, if you really want to soak up as much Disneyland as possible, then stay on site. But if you really are looking to save a little bit of money, and you don't mind, maybe sacrificing a little bit of that, Disneyland magic, in the sense of like, you won't be all encompassed, then the Disneyland nearby hotels are just fine. I toured a few of them on my trip just a couple weeks ago. I got to see a few really nice ones that are certainly great options, and they have all kinds of budgets for those. I've stayed at the Hyatt, of course, down in Orange County. And that's great because they have a shuttle that you do have to pay for. But again, it drops you off right there at that bus area. And the shuttle runs, consistently. So, it really just, like you said, it does depend on what kind of experience you want to have with your hotel. And that's where I'll leave that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, with the offsite hotels, you're going to get some more of those amenities that if you're not, like, if you go to Walt Disney World, like you cannot expect to get like a continental breakfast, or stuff like that included, where, whenever we go to Schaumburg for cheerleading, or we go to the Dells and stay at a hotel at the Dells for cheerleading, or wherever we go, Indianapolis, that's always included with whatever hotel we go to. You're always going to get like a breakfast. You're going to get, some other kind of more standard hotel inclusions, which you don't get with Walt Disney World. That's kind of a delineation too with the on-site. Again, Disneyland, you're not going to get that with their on-site hotels, but you might get that across the street, right? Like a quarter from there.
And then the Fairfield, like one of my biggest hacks is like the Fairfield, especially there's a Panera that's right next door. You just mobile order some Panera and then you just grab it and then you just walk up, have breakfast or eat it at the gates while you're waiting for the parks to open. It's just a really nice nice way to save time and a little bit of money too. So I really like that.
Now I will say, Disney just reintroduced the fact that early entry is coming back to the Disneyland resort. So that part is nice if you're an early riser, and I mean even I'm an early riser at Disneyland, so it's not hard to hit this when you're there. But you will be able to get into the parks early if you are staying at a Disneyland Resort hotel. So that is an option. And there's some other parks that they just announced as well. So you might want to check if you missed that, you might want to check that news out on Mouse for Less.
And check it out, because we just recorded last Friday. We were talking about all these things, and like it happened within 24 hours. Disneyland made some of these things happen. Like Scott was bemoaning that you had to make your reservations. It was kind of challenging that on-site guests should have a little preferential treatment. And then within 24 hours of Scott saying this on Facebook and YouTube, now there's something called preferred dining reservations for on-site guests coming in August. So it's like, whoa. And you're going to be able to do some resort delivery with purchases.
Yes.
There's actually going to be some where certain restaurants are going to be delivering food to the lobbies of the on-site hotels. There's going to be pool parties with characters starting July 1st, by the way. So we are going to be rocking out with some characters at the pool.
Nice.
And what else? We had the early morning hours. I mean, they announced so many things for this summer. And of course, there's a discount for like late summer. So
I know why couldn't have been an early summer discount. That's what I needed, Mike.
I was looking for you. I was checking for you, but it was like August. I was like, dang, we're gone. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely really trying to entice you to stay at those 3 hotels. So I think it's
in the pre-show we joked about. I think there's an insider that listens to the show that must like have Disney's ear, or they're like a secret like Disney cast member that just listens to our ideas and like, oh yeah, they talked about that in the Beer Guest podcast. Yeah, we should go do that.
Right. We should totally do that. Like, we did it again. We did it again, guys.
I was like, this cannot be happening because it happens too often. It's spooky.
Way too often. It's very freaky. Yeah.
All right. So Andrew's got a question here. We love Andrew. He's been with us forever.
Yes.
He says, what are your thoughts on Disney pulling out of the Brightline train project, which if you don't know is that train that I believe runs all the way from Miami up into Central Florida through MCO, and was going to not be the replacement for Disney's Magical Express, but it was kind of like Magical Express is going away, but we're going to get this cool train that's going to get everybody from the airport over to the Disney Springs area. So we talked about this after we recorded last week's shows, because we talked about this after we finished recording. And initially it was like, oh my gosh, they pulled out totally. But what we're finding out a little bit later, again, a day later or so, is that it looks like it is still moving forward. It just may not be exactly on Disney property. It may be just outside of Disney property at Disney Springs. So I don't know enough about this. Scott, did you read anything about this? Have you heard anything? I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, like I haven't looked too much into this, kind of selfishly, because I usually rent a car or I'll do like some service. So I mean, if they would have done this project, and if they still do, like if it's going to be a little offsite, not necessarily at Disney Springs, I still might be interested in trying it just for like research purposes. But I was always confused about it a little bit. Like, where at Disney Springs was this going to be? Like logistically, I look at like how Disney Springs is set up. Where's a train going to come through? That always like kind of blew my mind. So this kind of makes more sense actually what they're doing now. So like I'm still all for it, and I just like have an option. So if the option is still on the table, then I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, because a train station, even some kind of a small like depot, has to be rather large. I mean, if you look at the pictures of the trains, these are not like little light rails. These are big. These are big trains. I mean, so I don't know, Ricky, but you've been doing a little research with this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I believe that the station is potentially going to be built on iDrive. So that means that it will be beneficial for all Orlando area attractions, which is kind of nice. I, like you, was kind of wondering, hey, where is this going to go at Disney Springs and how are they going to manage it? So, there were a lot of questions involved with the announcement originally. So, I'm kind of not surprised that it's not happening. But, I mean, it's just one of those things where I think it was going to be, in a weird way, more of a nightmare for Disney to have it at Disney Springs, because then you have to figure out how to get people from Disney Springs to the resorts. And I mean, I'm sure they would have figured it out, but it certainly wouldn't have been the most feasible. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you got to think a bunch of people are getting off a train, and now you've got to transport them to all the resorts. So yeah, and now this, Disney had to do that. So now this way it's still on people to figure out how to get to the Walt Disney World Resort. So I don't know. I'm still cautiously optimistic about the train, and I like you, Scott. I won't be taking it because unless I somehow don't rent a car.
Research purposes.
Yeah, for research purposes, I might. Yeah. But like, unless I don't rent a car or have my car, it's not like an option that I'll likely be taking. So I really don't know. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening.
It'll be interesting if there's like a car rental like at this station.
I would think
because I would like to do that. I would leave the airport, take the train over to get my car, and then don't have to worry about driving back. Like drop my car off at the train station and take the train back.
Or and if it's an Alamo, I mean, you can always rent the car on Disney property, or vice versa, drop it off at Disney property. So. It's going to be really interesting to see what ends up happening, but I'm not surprised that it's not taking place at Disney Springs anymore.
No, I mean, it has to be for more the general Orlando population, probably, than just the Disney fan to get the taxpayer, involvement in all this. But if you think about it, it really is going to have to turn into basically like a TTC part 2. I mean, it's got a hub, because this in Disney Springs is terrible. I understand that it's a corner of property that's closest to the airport. You're coming in from that side, and you have you got I-4 and everything over there, and International Drive. It's kind of up that way too. But the thing is, like, I mean, Disney Springs is congested. Like, dude, you do not want to have a train just constantly dumping people off there. Not like in Disney Springs proper. I mean, it could be like a little ways down, but not there. I don't know.
Yeah, so like on Hotel Plaza Boulevard, it's like it gets really congested down there, like you're saying. Yeah,
you don't need a whole bunch more people like every 15 minutes getting dropped off. Anyway, Robert's got a question here. He says, "Hey, everybody, not in love with any of the table service dining at the Magic Kingdom, especially now with the increased cost. Should we venture over to Steakhouse 71 or the Grand Floridian Cafe for lunch, or just stay in the park and head to Pecos Bills?" I got my answer.
Cool.
I think we got the same one, but I'm going to go to Ricky on this one first. What did you do, Ricky?
I am not going to suggest going to Pecos Bills. Just because the last time I ate there, it was actually, and Brian even said it too, it was somewhat disappointing. Without the Fixins bar, Pecos Bills is not the same.
That is true. Without the Fixins bar, take Pecos Bills down 20%.
Pecos Bills definitely gets knocked down. It was very lackluster. Both of us just were like, this is not on the list anymore, in a weird way. Like, we were just like, if I don't come back to Pecos Bills for a while, I'm okay. Because the Fixins bar really did make Pecos Bills what it was. So with that, I would say if you want to stay in the park, I would choose a different counter service place. Or you could go to Steakhouse 71, because I think that that's a really good option. Or you could always go over, I'm going to give you a counter service option at the Polynesian, Captain Cook's. It's super awesome. I love their food. Their pulled pork nachos are fire. So, that's going to be my suggestion. I know that's not what you asked, but I'm throwing that into the ring. So it's either Steakhouse 71 or Captain Cook's.
All right. We will allow it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Good.
Scott, what do you have?
I think we have the same answer, Mike. So, and I already saw someone in the chat already throw it out there, but, I'm going to leave the Magic Kingdom. I'm going to take a boat over, because the boats are the greatest thing ever. Yes. This is the greatest mode of transportation. And I'm going to go to the Grand Floridian and have lunch at Gasparilla.
Okay.
Because, or you could do Grand Floridian Cafe if you want.
I was going Grand Floridian Cafe because they just have a killer lunch. I mean,
they do.
My gosh,
but like, I don't know. I have this connection to Gasparilla now due to like those early days of the pandemic. Like, you're wearing your mask all day. We would just take the boat over, and then they would just have all this, like, they would just blast you with air conditioning. I remember the first time I walked in, I was like, my mobile order isn't ready yet. They probably saw how like red my face was from like the heat. They're like, sir, just take you and your family, just take your mask off, just have a seat over here, just relax a little bit, enjoy the air conditioning. We'll bring your food out when the mobile order is ready. And like, that just became my thing now. Like, that's my Magic Kingdom day. Like, I leave on a boat, I go to Gasparilla, have a counter service lunch. It's really enjoyable, but you can't go wrong with a Grand Floridian Cafe over there as well, like you were saying, Mike.
Yeah, either one, because Gasparilla is, I mean, it's like a step above for counter. I mean, it's the Grand Floridian though.
But are you taking a boat or are you going to do the monorail over?
You could walk too. I mean, if
you could walk. What's your
beautiful? I do like those little boats, the launches. Those are sweet. Yeah. Those are pretty cool. Yeah, I would take a boat. I would totally take a boat. And by the way, shout out, just because it's on my mind right now, to cast member Star at Disney Cruise Line, who I just spoke with for about 30 minutes, and it was only supposed to be about a 2-minute call. But we got talking because I talk to Star all the time when I'm making reservations over at Cruise Line, and she's one of my favorites. And she was telling me all these stories about when she used to work the front desk at the Grand Floridian Cafe, and her mom actually worked at the not the Grand Floridian Cafe, at the Grand Floridian at the desk. Her mom was actually a housekeeper before her at the Grand. And she told me a story about how when Star herself was working at the Grand front desk and Princess Diana was a guest at the Grand Floridian, so apparently Princess Diana was going up that grand staircase. In the rule states, there's like, I guess, I don't know if it's a written rule or unwritten rule. We were laughing about this because I was like, I don't know. But when a princess is going, she's a real princess, right?
She's a real princess. This is a legit princess. Yeah.
This is for real. She was going up that big staircase right at the Grand, and apparently nobody else is allowed to be on any of the steps while a princess is on said staircase, I guess. I don't know. This is what Star was telling me. Well, apparently her mom was working at that time, and she had her Star's younger sister was like real little at the time, and she was late getting off, so she cut across the staircase to get out of the lobby because she had to get home to get to her daughter. And so like everybody freaked out, and Star's mom apparently was like, I didn't know, and I got to get to my daughter, the stairs are supposed to go down them. So she was cracking up. I was cracking. I love Star. She's one of the greatest. Cast members are awesome when you get to talk to them. She was telling me that story, but I mean, how cool is that? She got to interact with Princess Diana at the Grand Floridian. That's
incredible. Really interesting. Holy cow.
She told me some stories about Frank Gifford, how he used to go to the spa. I was like, it was a great call. I guys was like, just keep telling me all these stories. It's pretty awesome.
I kind of want to watch, go back and I'm going to watch movies so differently now when there's a princess in it to see if there's any staircases. And if anyone, I'm thinking like Cinderella, and she's not a princess yet, but I think she's the only one on the stairs, and when she loses the slipper.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. That's what I told her. I was like, I didn't have the same thing as your mom, but I'd have just been like, oh, my bad. Like Royal Secret Service would have taken me out for sure. Okay, Kevin's got a question here in the inbox. He says, Mike, I'm currently taking a midday break at our room at the Boardwalk. I just devoured the crumb cake from the Boardwalk Bakery. Good call, Mike. Massive, delicious, and a great value. I'm telling you, that is my new go-to snack. Boardwalk Bakery, the crumb cake. It's only like $3.50. This thing is like a quarter of a cake, and it is so thick, and it's amazing. Anyway, here's what he says. Thought of a show idea for you guys last night. While walking to the bus stop, I see our Animal Kingdom bus pulling away. We ended up waiting 30 minutes for the next one. Disney's missing a golden opportunity for the next way to make you pay for something. I would have quickly pulled out my phone and hit the magic button for the bus to stop so we could hop on if there was one, if there was a spot. In that moment, I honestly would have paid $10 to $20 to hop on. It's okay.
Emergency brake app.
Yeah, but you'd never get home. That thing would be like, you'd be pulling away. Oh. And then you'd be like, okay, we're in the clear.
And then what if you're on the bus and be like, nope, I veto that.
Yeah, then I'll be like,
I'll pay $30. It's like an auction at that point.
Then it is. Can I get 40? Can I get 40 to get back to your bed? Can I get 40 to get back to your bed? I got 50 to let 3 people on. I got 50.
It reminds me of dueling pianos. So here in town, we used to have a dueling piano bar where they would play the Michigan State fight song, and then someone paid $20 for them to play U of M, and then another group would pay no, we're paying you $40 to play Michigan State. Those piano players made a killing those nights.
That's a great idea, dude. That's a great hack for dueling pianos. Pay me more. I'll play the opposing.
I'll play the other fight song, and then people are just bundling all their money together. Here's $200. Play the Michigan State fight song.
Loaded up. I don't even care about football. I could care less. I'm just playing whatever. Okay, here's what he says though. Show idea. So we may do this as a full show. Apparently, he says, frustrating moments at Walt Disney World that you would have been willing to pay money for to fix in a moment's notice if Disney made this possible. Thanks for putting out quality episodes every single week. Enjoy your upcoming trip to Disneyland, Kevin. So can you think of anything off the top of your head? And I was thinking about this for our listeners. If they put these on Twitter, again, at BRGuestMike, I'll retweet them so we can kind of all just this week, because we'll be watching our Twitter as we're at Disneyland. Like, what is something like real creative that you could put into a tweet that everybody else would enjoy seeing that I could retweet? Like, Ricky, can you think of something where in like the moment you're like, God, Disney, like, I would pay $20 right now to solve this. I would throw money at this if Disney would take money for this problem. Have you ever had something like that? That's great.
I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I would pay money if I didn't have to participate in the park reservation system.
I would.
So, look, I will pay you money. Just don't make me make a reservation. It's fine. I just don't want to worry about it. So
you would pay money to go back to what we normally
yes, at this point,
this is
I
like
would.
A quadruple negative kind of situation. Like
I don't want to give Disney the idea because I feel like they'd be like, haha, we got you now. But I mean, at this point, I would pay money to not have to deal with the park.
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, like, I think I run Disney and like, I mean, they charge money to like improve your corral to like get through the queue, which takes your breath away every time you got to sign up for a race. Like, that's one of the things I'm like, I'd throw money at that, but you can. Like, I mean, they've given you that with Club Run Disney and stuff like so. They've kind of thought of ways to monetize a lot of things. What about you, Scott? Is anything percolating in your brain?
I mean, I kind of have a scenario. Like, so here's the scenario: you're at Hollywood Studios, and you just got off a ride, and you have a kid that's just like, or it could be you, Mike. It could be me. Where we're just like, oh my God, I'm so hungry. Like, let me get off the app for ABC Commissary. I got to get my buffalo chicken sandwich. And then you see like your time isn't available, or you book it and you say, I'm here, and you're waiting like 20 minutes. Sometimes I just want that sandwich in my hands right now. So I would like to pay like maybe a premium, like an extra $5 to $10 to get my food. When I say I'm here, I want it now. I know they're making them back there. They got them readily available. Just let me cut the line a little bit so I can get my sandwich right now.
Dude, that is. I mean, but God, that's
just what do you have a kid that's just like hanger, like they're about to blow up. Your kid better. It's you.
That's true, but I don't want that option because I will do that every single time. I will be broke.
Yeah, it's like a $3.99 like convenience fee to get it now.
Oh, dude, I'd be like, dang, my buffalo chicken sandwich is now $4 more expensive. Like,
you've been in that situation where there's just like a backup or whatever. Yeah. This happened to me in Magic Kingdom at Friar's Nook. It was breakfast time. They never shut off their window time. So like everyone just like booked a breakfast sandwich. They like triple booked everyone. I waited 40 minutes just to get like an egg sandwich. It was insane.
I mean, you guys remember how long the waits were on October 1st for food? I mean, heck, Florence and the Shine Golds and stuff like that, they waited at least an hour to an hour and a half basically for food at Pecos Bills. So I bet they would have paid money for that one.
This is like greasing the palm, but like, it's like just right.
It's greasing the palm.
That's exactly what this is, but it's like right there. Just push the button. We're going to let you.
Can I have my sandwich now, please?
Exactly. Scotty G, you've skipped the line. But here's the thing. They got to out you. They got to be like, this cat, I know everybody else is hungry, but he paid $5 extra. So boo.
People throwing the steak fries at you as you walk to your table.
Exactly. By the way, you just scared me to death when you did that with your mic. And if somebody was on a treadmill, they probably just about fell off because that went through my ears right into my soul. I thought God was not going to be there for a second. So that was our attempt of spatial audio right there.
Oh my gosh.
Your Wednesday. Okay, we can't do this so often. Okay, William's got a question. This is a great question when this one came into the inbox. I love this. It says, "Hey Mike, recently found your podcast and have pretty much binge listened to every episode I can get on Spotify. I've noticed you ring a bell periodically on the podcast.
Oh no.
And on a recent trip report, the traveler told you to ring your bell. What do you ring your bell for?"
That's a great question.
Keep up the great work. The podcast makes every kilometer I run a little shorter. Will, and apparently kilometers are shorter than miles, so you're not going as far. No, just kidding. No, we love it. You didn't tell us where you listen, Will, so let us know. Please do, and I appreciate that you listen on Spotify. That is awesome. Mm-hmm. And so when this email came through, I read it to my wife, and I said, I love this podcast because you really never, ever know
this is true.
What you're going to get when people write in or, see in the parks or whatever. And so I said, here's the email. Like, Will wants to know, like, I have this bell, and I ring it. But he wants to know why I ring the bell. And I'm like, I don't know.
I know we do it for charcuterie.
Yes.
Yes. And I think we do it also for Baseline Tap House because that would make sense.
Yes. And so here's, I'll tell you actually what it is. And actually, okay, for the history of the bell. I can't believe we're talking about this. It used to be the Tower of Terror bell, which I bought at the Tower of Terror, but I'm terrible at hitting it. Like it's very inconsistent.
Yeah, he's not good.
Like if you hit it too hard, it does that. You gotta really have a light touch. Okay, so that was pretty good.
That was pretty. That was a pretty jingle there.
See, I learned how to hit the Tower of Terror bell. You got it as a light tap.
You should ring the bell because you just ring the Tower of Terror bell so well.
I know. I should here, so I'll do that. But see, what I've done is I've got a new mixer about a year, 6 months ago or so. I've digitized the bell, so now the bell is handy. I can just boom hit the red button, and I got a bell anytime I want. So that made it easier. But I'll be honest, I've ripped it off from another podcast. And if you listen to Rob has a podcast who does a lot of Survivor and Big Brother recaps, anytime there's like a good point brought up on the podcast, yeah, you get the bell. So when everybody says something that is poignant or I agree with, or is just something that is smart, doesn't mean you're always going to get it. Maybe sometimes I can't reach it and I just don't think about it. But if I think about it, you will get a bell. So
sometimes you fall off the chair because you're laughing so hysterically, like you just can't get it.
Rhonda Lee in the live chat says, I once got a bell for her joke, and she just got a bell right there for her comment.
And now people are like, I really wish he'd stop it with the bell.
I'll tell you what, the first time you ring that bell, though, when I was on a call with you, it was so loud. Like I just about jumped off my seat.
Oh, and by the way, too, the bell has its own volume slider now. So that's very nice. And sometimes, like one time, my little nephew came down. He's 4. And dude, he's like just a wrecking ball when he comes through, and like he must have come over and hit the sliders because this mixer's like up higher than the other mixer. And yeah, I wasn't paying attention. I hit the bell and the thing was like on 8. It was like, oh, because I keep it on like 2. Yeah, so that's there is the bell. Yeah, it's like an easy button, Alan says. It's kind of like, it does kind of look like the easy button. I'll post this on Twitter, a picture of the bell pad where I do all this stuff. So let's see. People were saying what they would pay money for. Let's see here. I want to go back and pick those up real quick. Lisa said, because they just came in, I would pay to make my 3 fast passes at once. So again, to go back to what we had 5 years ago, sad. Peg says I'd pay money for a 5 Scotty rated bathroom. So 5 SG bathroom. Yeah.
I like that.
And Paul says I'd pay for fast lane festival booths. What about for like lightning lanes for the festival booths? That's right. Dude, that could happen easy. I could
totally off subject from what you paid for, but I'm just thinking, Mike, you get to rate some new bathrooms with new SG ratings.
Yeah, every bathroom I go to, I'm gonna have to come out. We're gonna have to come to a consensus.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, Paul's got a running quote. Go ahead, Ricky.
I was gonna say, I think that the back to the food booth thing. I agree with that. Sometimes those lines are ridiculously long, and I'm just like, you know what? Never mind. I don't want food that bad. Well, I will go to another booth that does not have a long line.
It's just going to be like the attractions, though, Ricky. So I'm still with you, and not to make this in a fast pass. I don't like fast passes. No, I want everything to be standby. Yes. So could you imagine, though, like in the Mexico pavilion?
Oh my gosh!
Like you would stand there for 2 hours. You would never go anywhere. If people.
I mean, can you imagine they had it at La Cava? Yeah, oh my gosh! Everybody would pay for it, and you'd be waiting in the same line you would have before.
Especially because once you have your first shot at tequila, dude, you're just paying.
You're never leaving.
Exactly, dude. It's doubled in price. I don't care. Give it to me.
I'm good. Let's go.
For real, that's dangerous. Okay, Paul's got a question. Running question. Is there a resort that is better for the runs? I'm booked at the Riv in April of 2023 for springtime surprise. Man, dude, you got such a bad. We're talking running. You're so terrible.
Sorry.
Again, Ricky strikes. I'm going to start again. Running question. Is there a resort that is better for running? I'm booked at the Riv in April of 2023 for springtime surprise. My first Disney run. Is there a better resort for me to waitlist, or should I stay at the Riv? I'll be honest, running at the Riv's awesome because you get to run around that lake between the Riv and Caribbean Beach. That's about a mile around, and it's a great place to run. I wouldn't switch, and the Riv is great. I mean, Scott, you've run there too. I mean, there's
but he's booked for springtime surprise. So I think he's talking about maybe going to the races instead of running at the resort.
Oh, you mean? Oh, I was thinking about running at the resort. It's that's the thing. People always ask about where to stay. I think it doesn't matter because you get the bus transportation from any resort equally. I'd say stay at the resort you like.
Yeah.
You think the same? I never
like that too. I will say I do kind of have a favorite though. I do like staying at like Port Orleans or Old Key West because when you leave Epcot, like after, because when you're done with the race, you get on the bus, you just want to get in and shower. You know, you want a quick shower, get ready to go. And I swear it's like a 3-minute ride from there. Like you're like zip, zip, boom. Because like where the buses are stationed is right across the street from where Old Key West is. You're there in like 2 to 3 minutes. It's super quick. So I kind of like those just for like, you know, quick shower purposes. But yeah, you can't lose at any of the resorts. You kind of just stay at the one that you like the most.
He's asking, he says more based on transportation, but the Riv, you're right there. I mean, you're really close to Epcot, and it's Spring Surprise. Was that based out of Epcot? I can't remember. Yeah.
So I mean, you don't know though, because they could change the races, but yeah, it was the Tower 10 miler and the 10K we're at Epcot.
Yeah. Yeah. In the Rivs. Yeah, I would stay there. I mean, it's a great hotel. You're going to be fine. That'd be great. All right. Sarah's got a question here. Hey, Mike, longtime listener. Thanks for help planning. Thanks for all the planning help. We have an upcoming early September trip and are planning to have a small gift ready each morning for the kids to get them excited for the park we're headed to. A t-shirt and a park map, that kind of thing, etc. For our Epcot day, we wanted to gift them a Remy's hide and squeak game and thought it would be fun for them to get the map when they wake up and start playing right away when we get to World Showcase while the adults grab a drink and a snack. My question is, do the maps I see all over eBay work for this? Or is there another responsible way to pre-purchase the game before we get into Epcot that will still let them collect the prize at the end? Thanks, Sarah. Has anybody done Remy's?
I do those all the time. I'm a sucker for those things. I love those treasure hunts.
Yeah, I haven't done it. So what do you think about that? I mean,
you wouldn't be able to pre-purchase it. So I mean, you could do something like where you could kind of make your own if you like, you know, are creative enough, or if you found one on Etsy or eBay. Like I wouldn't want to necessarily go that route. I would just, it's tricky. You would just almost need like someone, you know, like ahead of time, like pre-purchase the map for you. Or if you spend another day at Epcot and you can like kind of sneak in there and have someone buy a couple maps beforehand. But yeah, it's really more like you have to have it you got to purchase that at Epcot first, really, before you can hand it out.
Do people sell those on eBay? I mean, I guess people do.
I don't know. I mean,
they do. I mean, I didn't think about
for
that.
collection purposes, people would,
yeah, I didn't think about them doing it on eBay too.
But a cool thing you could do is because like you kind of know where they're all at. Like I've seen people do this. They'll play the treasure games without the map. Like,
right.
Someone came up to us once asking where one was, and they kind of like made their own map.
Yeah.
You know, you took like a park map and kind of circled certain things or whatever. So you can still have fun playing the game. You just wouldn't have the stickers of the prize. But so that's a creative thing you could do too.
I wouldn't buy it off eBay for, you know, a couple reasons. One, I don't
encourage it.
Yeah, I don't want to encourage eBay pirates. Two, you never know if you are buying one that has been used, in the sense of like all they have to do is like stamp the back, and you know they don't even have to complete the circle to get their prize. So what they do is they stamp the back of it. So if it's been stamped and they don't, you know, show that the back has been stamped, you're not getting a prize. Right. So you've bought a map that doesn't even allow you to really do that. So all you're doing is buying a map with stickers, you know. When, like Scott said, you can do that easy for free, you know. So I would just buy the map when you get to the park. And I know that you want to do it as a, you know, giveaway for when they wake up, but maybe there's something else that
I would get them some other kind of little token until they get to the park, and they get it at the park. It just that just eliminates all that worry about pre-ordering. What are you going to get? You know, what kind of person you're working with. Just get them a little stuffed Remy, you know. Something, you know, just something that, you know, it's like you're going to do some kind of like a magnifying glass, you know, something like that, something cheap.
Something Ratatouille themed, maybe, you know, you can find it, you know, the Target dollar stop, you know, spot or something along those lines. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't.
But I hope you have fun doing it. So
yeah,
I love doing these, and my daughter, she's 14 now, and we still love doing this. And we always do the same thing. We always take a photo of her with her map in her hand, pointing at whether it's Orange Bird, Remy, Spike, whoever the character is for that festival. And then we do this like photo collage of her pointing at all of them. It's like, it's always for like a little cute, fun photo. So I'm sure you probably already had that in an idea bank, but I would recommend like doing a photo at each stop because that's pretty fun too.
All right. Shout out to Dennis, who is in the air watching us from the plane on his way home from his wonderful Alaska cruise on
This
the
cruise looked
Disney
awesome. He was sharing it in the Discord, man. I loved seeing those photos.
Unreal. Someday I got to get up there. And our final question of the day is from Peg, who is hanging out with us today live on Facebook. Says, I don't run, but I do walk. Can you walk a Disney race without getting swept by the balloon ladies? How fast do you need to be? So typically what I say for your like practicing to get ready for a Run Disney event, if you want to walk, if you can stick to like a 16.5-minute mile, you're probably going to be fine. But I would try to stick to like a 16-minute mile, which is that's a walking pace for a lot of people, but it's a brisk walk.
It's a brisk. Yeah.
It's a brisk walk. I mean, it's not a stroll.
You're 6'4", man. Like that's that's nothing for you with those long legs.
I mean, it depends. I mean, but it can be walked. But I mean, it's a power walk. It's a brisk walk. You're definitely exerting a lot. It's an aerobic activity, but yeah, there are lots and lots of people that do walk. Now, if you've never done a Run Disney event, I would say to maybe sign up for a 5K first, because they do not have balloon ladies in the 5K. So you don't have to have that pressure on yourself. But if you really want to do a 10K, just get out there and you could train yourself to walk that pace, I think. And really you get a little bit of a buffer if you can get up a little bit. Now, if you're right in front of the balloon ladies, the pressure's on from the get-go, but, I don't know, Scott, what do you think? Because you've seen that. We've been in a ton of these races and we've seen all kinds of people walking, running, run, walk, everything.
Yeah, I was actually surprised you said 16.5, because I was going to go the opposite. I was like, if you can train for a 15.5-minute mile, then you got the buffer, But to your point, that is like a really quick walk, you're going to have to do some kind of small little bit of running intervals, I think, to hit that pace. But train for like that 16-minute mile. Mike was saying for walking, and then just even if you're in the last corral, try to inch your way up, because what they'll do is they'll do these waves. So if you're in like starting group D, if that's the last one, try to inch your way up, especially if you're one person. It's kind of easier if you're not part of a big group. Inch your way up as close as you can, so you can kind of get a little bit of a buffer there. But 10K, half marathon, full marathon, I always do those in like 16.5 minutes. I don't run with Mike anymore because he'll kill me out there if I try to run his pace.
Done. Yeah.
So I go into turtle space. I try to enjoy it a little bit more, or else I'm dying if I run with Mike these days. I might run another one with him again. We'll see.
We will. Yeah. Yeah, we'll do it.
I definitely do the 16.5 pace that Mike's talking about. I just like to get a little bit out in the head first, and then I'm comfortable the rest of the race.
What I've noticed too is a lot of times when you get to the race, you kind of get amped up, you get a little energy, you get a little adrenaline flowing, and you can go a little faster than you're expecting on race day. So that always happens to me, which is crazy. I'm always excited. So that'll probably happen to you as well. So we like to see you out there, Peg. Give it a shot. It's a lot of fun. All right, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for hanging with us here on a Wednesday. Got to get back down that monorail slide one more time here at the pool. I know it's a rough wind. I love it. I felt like it's a Wednesday and I'm actually not working. I'm at Disneyland with my guy, Scott, with my family. Oh man. So follow at BOGP at DL. We're going to be posting everything there. So follow along. And the fun continues through Friday night. All right, don't forget today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. The agents are standing by right now to help you plan a great Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney trip. Check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link, Prime Day, coming up July 12th. If you're going to be shopping on Prime Day, our Amazon link works on that day. So get those specials and use our link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And also, please support us on Patreon, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. And a huge shout out to our awesome patrons who make all of this podcasting possible. Give Ricky a follow. She's at Ricky Nibs, RIKKINIBS. Give Scott a follow at Epscott, EPSCOT. I'm at BRGuest Mike, so give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, follow the show on Facebook and YouTube to search for the Be Our Guest podcast. If you don't mind and you have a little time this week, leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. We'd sure appreciate that because those kind words help us spread the word about the podcast. And we love putting the show out and we love finding new listeners like you just found out today. It's great. William, running his kilometers, wondering what the bell is all about. I don't know. I still don't know. But, hey, William, one more time. You get a bell. There you go. All right, we're going to get out of here, and we'll be back again on Friday. And we're back to that little mini series that we have going on where we're breaking down your Walt Disney World day. We talked about the morning. In the morning, you got to set up those lightning lanes. You got to set up your virtual queues if you have those. You got to think about what you're going to wear in the morning. You got to get your breakfast. You got to think about transportation to get to the parks. What about midday? Not as much happening in the midday, but middays are still pretty important. So we're going to talk about that on Friday's podcast. But until then, for Ricky and Scott, I'm Mike, wishing you a great midweek. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Save that bad boy.
Oh my gosh, like something funny happened during that episode.
I
don't know if you heard it.
I heard something.
Yeah, it was you, is what you heard.
Was it
so
me?
like somehow like my phone was like doing something. So like I went to like tap it and somehow I opened up like the YouTube like live feed and it was you talking and I couldn't turn the volume down. And then all of a sudden it was like about to call 911 for an SOS. Like I was panicking because like I couldn't turn the volume down because it was trying to call someone, but you were still coming out of the phone.
My gosh, that is way too funny. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
So yeah, if you listen to that, Mike, you might be like in stereo at one point.
I heard something. I was like, y'all.
I did too. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, no, it was Mike.
Oh my gosh,
awesome. It's Mike and Mike 10 seconds later.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this one is what number? This one 217? No, because it was 216 because it won't be a live show that week. Yeah, so these are back to back. It won't be a Thursday show this week. Okay, here we go. I don't know what we're going to talk about for this one because there's not a whole lot going on midday.
I
but
know.
This can be a shorter one. So, Adventures in Podcasting ain't that every time we open the mic, Dennis. Dennis knows he does shows. You don't know what you're going to. This one's going to be a stretch, but we're going to try to do this.
We're going to have to come up with something. I was just thinking
swim.
Take an afternoon break.
Yeah.
I got something.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 2117 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you and hope you are ready for an awesome weekend. I am, of course, wrapping up a great Disneyland resort stay. They say all good things must come to an end, but the good thing is you can always go back and do it again. And you always have those memories to take home with you. And don't forget, the trip's not over. I have a feeling today is going to be the most epic day of the entire trip. So follow along at hashtag BOGP at DL. So again, BOGP ATDL for all the pictures and updates. We're going to have a great time going to Blue Bayou today. We're going to have a great night. I just have a feeling we're going to close down Disneyland and it's going to be epic. So follow along as we wrap up this big Disneyland adventure. So joining me today to break down actually your Walt Disney World midday today, we have Ricky from themouseforless.com. Happy Friday, Ricky. What's up?
Happy Friday. And it has been so much fun following along with you guys on your trip. I may or may not be a little jealous of all the fun that you guys had, but I know that it was super awesome. And, for those who have or haven't been following along, we definitely have all the fun on the Be Our Guest Instagram. So, you might want to check it out. That I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, you can check out Mike's too, but I'm just
I'm pick up the followers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to do it. So it's Be Our Guest Pod for those who are, looking at following along with Mike's adventures on the podcast Instagram account.
It's fun to have a lot of followers on Instagram when you have a kid who's in high school.
Yeah,
because
I'm sure.
Like when apparently they get bored in high school and like they start Googling each other's names, and when they're like, Mallory, like your dad has 7,600 followers on Instagram. That's like cred. I mean, and it's also kind of like super embarrassing for me.
Right, exactly. Like, why does your dad have so many followers, right?
Exactly. It's awesome. It's awesome. So please help me embarrass my daughter further and give me more internet fame. Just kidding. It's not, but it's so funny because I'm like, well, what are your parents are cool and all, but your friends' parents are cool and all, but do they have 7,500 followers on Instagram? No. It's so funny because it cracks me up. Just because I have a podcast and we talk about Disney. That's what we do. Anyway, we are going to have Scotty on the show today because we're hanging out right now at Disneyland as we speak. Hashtag Scotty G. What's going on, Scott?
Man, I got a couple comments from the intro there. First off, happy Friday. Happy to be on the show. It's our last day at Disneyland, Mike. But like you said, we're going to tear it up. swimming, Blue Bayou. I think we got an awesome breakfast in the works too at Storytellers. But the big question is, everyone wants to know: is there going to be a Bowlington goodbye at the end of the night, or are we just gonna like rip the Band-Aid and be like, "See you later, man"?
It's going to be a Bowlington goodbye times 10, which other people call Midwestern goodbye. Ricky, I don't know if you know, but it's the it's the long drawn out rough goodbye.
Yeah, but we're gonna have so much fun, man. We're gonna close down Disneyland. We're gonna go hard. It's gonna be awesome. But talking about the Instagram, it's funny because like Emily's like I think Emily has like some of the younger parents in her school. Like I don't know what it is like about me and Elizabeth. I think we're on the younger side, but her friends love me, and Emily encourages it. Like we all follow each other on Instagram. They like all my all my posts. Like it's just kind of funny. Like and surprisingly, Emily's not too embarrassed about it. Apparently, I'm the cool dad because I think all these other kids have older dads, you know. So like,
see, you're younger. Though. See, you're younger. See, I'm a little bit older. So yeah, I'm not the young dad. But I try to be cool. But I don't know if I can be. But that is cool. You know, I just found out one of the cheer moms. I think it's a varsity cheer mom. Is a TikTok viral star.
Oh dang!
Our school, like seriously, like she's super famous on TikTok. Like to the point that they have a home studio. Her husband does it too. Like her car's wrapped to her brand.
Wow.
Like that's what she does. Like she makes a living on TikTok. Like I don't know what her account is. I gotta look it up.
I was gonna ask you, but yeah.
I don't know. My wife was cracking up. Like, what are you watching? She's like, oh, this is one of the moms from the show. I mean, I'm finding out all this stuff. I told you last week that on Mallory's, not the high school squad, but her cheer squad, Devin Williams' sister, right? The closer for the Brewers. I'm like, what's going on with my world? It's nuts.
I guess you guys are due to see a celebrity at Disneyland. Maybe we're going to see one today. We're going to see one today.
I'm sure we've seen 7. You know, Pam's like, we're going to see a Kardashian. I'm like, I wouldn't know a Kardashian if I bumped into a Kardashian. I do not know what they look like. I've only heard the names. I seriously wouldn't know. Like if somebody came, like if a Kardashian served me a churro, I wouldn't know.
I don't know.
Like,
I mean, you're looking at one right now. Like Ricky is a Kardashian.
Are you? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea what that even means. Anyway, so
definitely not. No.
For real. Okay, so let's move on from that and let's talk about your midday at Walt Disney World. So we gave tips and things, pros and cons, and things to think about for the mornings. I still think I'm a morning person. So I think the morning is the most important part of your Disney day because you're setting yourself up for success, right? You're getting yourself going. You're getting into the parks. You can get so much done in the morning. So today we're going to talk from like 10 a.m. to let's say like 4 p.m. Let's go that 6-hour window from like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. middays. When you think about that time period, Ricky, this is a dangerous question.
Is Ricky awake?
This is actually Ricky morning. Actually, this is Mike getting ready to take his nap.
Exactly.
So, what do you think of in this midday? Like, what are some benefits? What are some considerations? What are some things we have to do to plan to make our day awesome midday?
I mean, this is when I'm getting to the park, so I'm ready to go. So the first thing, I mean, if I haven't just eaten breakfast, which I mean, I think you guys may remember on the last episode, I talked about the fact that Brian and I a lot of times will end up having a very late breakfast at about 10:30 at a table service location. So if we have not done that, my husband, well, let's just put it this way. If he doesn't eat almost immediately, it does not go well.
That's how everybody is. I mean, that's Scott.
I'm just saying, like, if he doesn't eat as soon as we get to the park, it's not good. So he gets, you know, he's actually been known to like leave me and go grab food like when I'm doing something else and then come back and I'm like, where did you get that from? And he's like, I was hungry. Yeah, definitely. I know it goes against like everything that everybody talks about, but we usually go and grab lunch at this point. You know, we're going to some quick service location or mobile ordering because that's the best way to do this. And we are getting lunch. And I know, again, it's like a total waste because I've literally spent the entire morning either sleeping in, eating breakfast, and now I'm potentially eating lunch. So yeah, I mean, I'm really the worst person to go on a Disney vacation with because I've absolutely wasted the entire day, according to you two and to most other people.
Not the entire. There's nothing wrong with sleeping in a little. Like, I mean, no, if you do it every day, maybe, but yeah.
No, it's every day. But if I'm not, you know, if we did eat at, you know, a table service location for breakfast than we are, starting to hit some of our favorite attractions, as we walk in the door. So, the things that usually have, because obviously it is midday at that point. So the attractions are the big headliners are going to tend to have a little bit longer of a wait. So if I don't have a Genie Plus reservation or an individual Lightning Lane reservation, which, by the way, this is the time where, you should have made a few of those if you have those. We are, doing the attractions that tend to not have such long waits. So, we're going to hit up things like Carousel of Progress, the TTA, we're going to do the Tiki Room, or we're going to go to Finding, Nemo. We're going to see some shows. We're going to do just things that are not going to be things that have huge waits, so that we can we'll do those things in the evening usually. So we can still get on attractions, still experience things, but not have like the really long waits that, usually, like Living with the Land. I mean, yes, we'll go on that like in midday. It's perfect. So ask me at the time, I legit spent the entire afternoon in the Land Pavilion. It was fantastic. So yeah.
Well, that was actually going to be one of my big tips is I'm not usually in the park after noon. I try to bounce out by noon because I get there at rope drop, and I've done all the big headliners right at rope drop. So I've knocked out all the things that are going to, at this point, are going to have long wait times. I mean,
yeah.
Space Mountain's going to have a long wait time at the Magic Kingdom, Seven Dwarves, Peter Pan, Splash, Big Thunder, all those kind of things. Pirates, they're going to start to really, really build Jungle Cruise. They're going to get the big wait time starting 10, 11, 12. This is where it's going to get insane. This is where you start bouncing to things like People Mover, Carousel of Progress, Tiki Room. Like you said, the other parks, you nailed them all. Shows,
it gives you air conditioning too, because we've been in the heat all day.
100%, because this is the hottest part of the day. If you're there in the summer, you got to get into the air, you get off your feet, because if you're doing the rope drop thing where you're trying to maximize your attractions early, you've been going hard. So like you've been going hard for like 3-4 hours. Now it's time to get off your feet, get some air conditioning, and relax and take in shows and slower paced attractions without waits. That is a great midday tip, Ricky. I like it.
And that you mentioned the air conditioning thing. That is absolutely huge, especially during the summertime months. You absolutely want to make sure during the midday, you go and do things that are air conditioned. So you want to make sure you're spending as much time in air conditioning as you possibly can. This is why, in the summer, Animal Kingdom, not necessarily my favorite park, because it's so hot in that park. We coined the phrase Animal Kingdom hot for a reason. Walking around World Showcase, again, not the best experience in the middle of the summer, in the middle of the afternoon. I do it all the time, but not the best, which is why I will have an umbrella with me. So that way I can shade myself. Yes, I am one of those people who shades myself in the middle of the sun. So
not a parasol instead of an umbrella.
Whatever you want to call it. Yes, I'll have it. But I absolutely, it is a must have for the heat. If I'm not getting out of the heat, I have the umbrella so that I can shade myself.
Good tip. That's good. Hey, whatever you got to do to stay cool in the summer, I'm all about it, because we're moving in right now is the hottest time at Walt Disney World from now till like even October. You got to do what you got to do in the midday. All right. So Scott, give us some of your initial thoughts for middays, like 10 to 4 in the parks, when you're in the parks, or just Walt Disney World.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to take this in a different perspective, that I'm an off-site guest, because I always stay on site. So I don't have a resort to go back to and go swimming, because this is, Mike, Ricky, let's be honest. That's the right answer, right? You're going to go back to your resort, put on the swim trunks, go swimming, take a nap, things like that, get refreshed. But if I'm staying off site and I'm just like, I don't have a hotel to go to, I'm still going to leave the park, I feel like, because I've been there since the morning. It's hot. I'm thinking summertime. I'm at the Magic Kingdom. I talked about this on Wednesday's show. Maybe take a boat and go to a resort and get a counter service, get some AC, just sit down for a little bit, have a nice little meal. Or even if I'm at Animal Kingdom Park, I can take a bus to any resort, like maybe I'm going to go over to the boardwalk and just hang out there and just like sit down a little bit and soak up the atmosphere, then take a bus back to the park later. I really like the idea of leaving the park for a little bit to get like a little mental break from the chaos that's happening in the parks as people like Ricky and Brian are coming in. You got a lot of people that are coming in. I want to take a little break. So I'm going to go to a resort and just kick up my feet a little bit and get like a counter service lunch somewhere.
And I think that's a great tip. And Len's talked about this with the unofficial guide for years, is that in once you hear this or once you read this, like you will see this, like this is true. You might not notice it until now that you've heard it here on the show or you've seen it somewhere. Like once you're aware of this, you will now like not be able. It's like one of those things like you can't unsee something. Is that walk through Fantasyland at like 2:30 in the afternoon? It is insane. Like especially in the summertime. Like you will hear like just kids melting down. Like you might not have noticed it before, but now that I've said that, watch. Kids are crying because I mean, a lot of kids are off their schedules and they're hangry, because it's like, oh, well, they ate lunch a little bit early. Like they had lunch at like 10:30 instead of they normally have it at noon. And so now they're trying to hold off because the kid only get an ADR at 6, and the kid's hungry. The dad's kind of hungry. Mom's hungry. The little siblings are hungry. They're fighting. The thing is, like, it just when the heat is on and like they've been going now for like 8 or 9 hours because they did not take a break. They're trying to get their money's worth. I think we've all seen that example of like families that are not having the most magical moments. They're almost just trying to survive the Magic Kingdom at that point because they don't want to leave. Like, and the move is if you're staying on site, get to the pool, bounce out. But here's the only problem with this is if you want to see the Festival of Fantasy parade, that is a really good parade. It used to be better. They've taken out some parts. It used to be a lot better, but it's still a good parade. And it's your only option for a parade in the Magic Kingdom right now. You don't have like a Main Street Electrical parade or a Spectral Magic or nighttime parade. So you don't have that option when it's cooler and people are kind of more chill. So if you want to see a parade, which a lot of people love to see at the Magic Kingdom, you got to be there in the heat of the day, which is kind of a bummer. Cause then and the thing is, like you said, well, I'm going to stay to the parade, then I'm going to bounce. Well, if you bounce after the parade, that really screws up the whole rest of your day. Cause you're almost bouncing. If you stay too long, it really starts to eat into your evening and everything gets messed up on the back end. Ricky, I know you don't, but Scott does this more. Like cause I do this every once in a while and I always get burned by it. I stay too long. Like I got to tell myself like, okay, I'm going to be out of here by 12:30. And I'll be like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay and watch Festival of Fantasy. Ugh, it screws up the whole rest of my night. Cause then I don't get my nap. Like I take my nap, but then I get, by the time I take my nap, it's 5 o'clock. I change clothes. Then my whole evening's off. I mean, have you ever been burned by that by staying too long and you wish you would have bounced earlier? I mean, do you guys ever do that?
You want to know a secret about traveling with Ricky?
What?
Ricky doesn't stop to watch the parade.
I know you don't, but I mean, and I don't usually, but I do, especially when Festival of Fantasy first came out.
Yeah, no, Ricky's doing the rides, and that's because everybody else has stopped to watch the parade. So like that's another huge hack for those of us who don't necessarily need to see the parade. Is go ride some rides while everybody else is waiting for the parade. But I mean, I guess I've never really gotten burned on that because again, I'm not taking that mid-afternoon break. I am one of those people who's staying from the minute I get into the park until the evening, unless I have a dining reservation somewhere else, or I am park hopping or something like that, which is another thing, to do in the middle of the afternoon is you could potentially park hop too. It's usually toward later in the evening that I'll do that. But, sometimes I'll do it in the middle of the afternoon. Just depends on what's going on because you can start to park hop beginning at 2. But I'm not leaving the park in the middle of the afternoon for myself because I am one of those people who doesn't get there until the middle of the day. So no reason for me to leave. I'm in it for the long haul at that point, which is partially why I get there late.
Later. Right. If you get there later, you're not going to take a midday break. I get that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts, Scott? I mean, have you ever been burned by staying too long? And
Mike, man, you are spot on. Like, I don't know how many times that's happened to me and I'm thinking of the Magic Kingdom in particular. Back when you could do like fast passes, like before Genie Plus, like I would sometimes see like, ooh, Festival of Fantasy Parade, let's get this fast pass. So I get the fast pass like in a special viewing area. Next thing I know, it's 3:30 and we got dinner at 5. Like I can't go. And it's because I love that parade. Like I just love seeing the characters. I love the music. There's something about a parade for me. And that's fine. I know Ricky doesn't like care for them, and like she's like tearing up other parts of the Magic Kingdom while everyone's just blazing hot, like just standing on the concrete waiting. And I gotta give a shout.
You're all watching the parade of heat.
Speaking of that, I gotta get, because I've always said, like, why do they do it in the middle of the day, the hottest part of the day? I gotta give a shout out to the cast members though that perform on those parades. Like, that is tough work. They're out there dancing. They got smiles on their faces. They gotta be sweating so much, and you don't even think about it because they're just so good at what they do. So big shout out to those cast members performing in those parades.
100% that. Yes. I mean, that is not easy to do in the middle of the afternoon. So those cast members are amazing.
Yeah, they're rock stars. But to your point, Mike, and then you're just like, it messes up your whole day. You're like, well, I'm tired. Like, I think I'm hungry again. Like, I really want to go swimming. But then you're thinking about, like, especially at Magic Kingdom, like, all right, I'm either going to take a boat back to the TTC or a monorail, or I'm going to take the bus back to the resort. That's going to take some time. I'm going to get nice and cold on the bus and maybe fall asleep and then go back to the resort. And like, at that point, I might not even want to put my swimsuit on because like now I want to do is take a nap. You put on the TV, you crank the AC up. Next thing you know, it's 6 o'clock and you're like, oh, what I do now? So like staying too late can burn you sometimes if you like to have that midday break. So you really have to commit. 11 o'clock, 11:30, noon. I'm getting out of that park. You commit.
Yeah, and it's such a temptation, right? I mean, because you're there and you're just like, it's just one more thing. But because Mallory used to get me with that. She's like, but Dad, can we just go on the People Mover one more time? But you got to remember, like, the People Mover isn't a 10-minute ride. You got it's going to be 40 or more minutes because you're going to stand in line for 10 or 15 minutes. You're going to ride the ride for 10 minutes.
And you know what happens, Mike? You get to the bus station and the bus you want is just pulling out and you're like, oh man, we got to wait another 20 minutes for the bus now.
Every time. It's crazy how that works. So now a couple people, Alfred and Amy from the Run, Eat, Drink podcast, both kind of mentioned one thing I want to mention was shopping. That is a great thing to do midday because midday, most people are out. If they're in the parks, they're doing the attractions. Like shopping bottles up. You don't want to shop at the end of the evening, which will be our third show in this series. Shopping's bad at the end of the day because that's what everybody's doing on the way out. This gets you, think about it. This is something without a line. There's not a lot of people shopping midday. You're in the air conditioning. So you're going to have a lot of, you're going to cool off. You're going to have elbow room. This is the time to shop. And I would say even this is the time to take this to the next level. Visit Disney Springs. If you want to take a break, but you're off site, like Scott said, Disney Springs, even in the morning. Now, the morning's not a good use because the morning you want to be in a theme park, really hammer those attractions if you want to do attractions. But midday at Disney Springs, bouncing around to get snacks, meals,
food options all over the place. Yeah.
Shopping. It's a great place to be because, I mean, Disney Springs gets packed in the evenings. Ricky, do you go to Disney Springs ever in the midday?
Absolutely. Usually it's a day when I'm getting ready to leave and head back home, but I 100% agree to go during the middle of the day because at night it is a nightmare sometimes. I mean, it's packed. It's crazy.
It's been
crazy.
I've seen it where you can't even like really cross.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta actually like you got to be like swept downstream.
Yes, you do.
Work your way over and then be swept back up.
I'll never forget the time that New Year's Day where we're like Malcolm's family was on the other side.
Yes.
I told Malcolm, I was like, I'm coming to see you. Now I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get swept down.
I gotta go this way.
It's gonna take me 10 minutes. You're 5 feet away, but
I know it's like a riptide. Like I'm gonna get carried by the current down towards Splitsville, but I promise I will meet you back up. When I get swept back up
upstream.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yep. So I say definitely go to Disney Springs in the afternoon. It is a great use of your afternoon time.
It is, but I mean, that's one of those times where you're probably, maybe you have a late lunch, early dinner, and again, the stores aren't going to be as packed, and it gets you, bouncing from store to store. I think that's a good thing to think about in the afternoon. Also, Peg in the live chat says, in the land, you could do the behind the scenes tour, which just came back. I think it's low key and it's a small tour. She said she actually had a little private tour. She was the only one who signed up, pretty inexpensive. And then she bounced over to Sunshine Seasons, had a snack. And you know what? She said she sat there and people watched. That is a great place to kind of just chill out in midday. Like if you say you are off site and you don't have the means to go back and like swim or take a nap at Pop Century or the Yacht Club or whatever, Caribbean Beach, That's a great place to just take it all in, go get a whoopie pie, and just sit there and just eat it slow and take it in. So Scott, what else?
The shopping is good at the resorts too. I think about the Contemporary. I love going to the LBV gift shop.
BVG?
Something.
Yeah, it's Belle DeVoe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
East Coast family.
But I mean, Vera Mike said it too, and I didn't give this answer because again, I kind of teased it. I think it's the best answer. We're trying to think of different things, but if you're staying on site, leave at 10:30, 11. Maybe you grab a little lunch, but maybe you go back to the resort and have the counter service at your resort. Or if you're in a villa, cook up a little snack, that maybe just some groceries, but just chill at the pool for a couple hours. That is the best time of the day to do it. If you like to indulge in a adult beverage, maybe you get a little cocktail, maybe do a lounge chair nap. And Mike, I've seen you do that so many times where you are just knocked out on a lounge chair. I have a great video of Paige slapping you to wake you up. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't.
But it's just a great time to chill. You get you're just off your feet. You're enjoying the amenities at your resort. You're enjoying the pool. And then, in the next series, you shower up, you get refreshed, you change your clothes. And then I think that's going to transition you to round 3, right? The evening time after dark.
Yep. And so Vera Mike also says, and I know, Scott, you're a huge fan of these. He loves the quiet pools in the afternoon. So we talk about, obviously, the biggest thing, I think we all say swimming in the afternoon is where to be at your resort. If you're staying on site, you should be at the pool, napping, swimming, out of the parks. I think Ricky's different, but I think if you go at rope drop, you are not in the parks midday. You are there in the morning. You're back at a different park in the evening. You hop to a different park in the evening. That's the perfect day for me. Yeah.
And sometimes I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but then quiet pools is interesting because I think a lot of people don't take advantage of quiet pools. They're always feature pool, because you got the little DJ, you got the games, you got, of course, the slides. You're quiet pool.
Yeah.
You're a quiet pool fool, Scott. You love quiet pool.
I pity the fool that don't like the quiet pool.
Exactly. No, go ahead.
Stop.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you could pull a Ricky. So Ricky is sleeping in the morning.
Right.
We're at the parks in the morning. But we've done this too with our families, Mike, with the Foresters too. You could be a pool morning person too, and then go in later. I'm just gonna really take a chill today because, as you know, we're talking about this, this is the right answer, which means a lot of people are doing that too, even at the quiet pools. Mm-hmm. But if you rope drop the pool,
that's true.
I know I wasn't on the morning series, but that's another option too. If you just want to have more of a chill day, man, I've done the Magic Kingdom, the studios, and Epcot 3-4 days in a row really hard. On day 5, I'm not going to sleep in, but I'm going to chill at the pool first, and then I'm going to pull a Ricky and kind of enter later. So that could be what you're doing 10 to 4 as well.
I like that. I actually like that a lot. I think that's a really great idea.
Especially Stormalong Bay, because Stormalong Bay gets to be a nut house midday. But if you rope drop Stormalong Bay, you have it to yourself.
Yeah. We have a secret spot. We won't say what that secret spot is, but
we will not.
That's
so
true.
Ricky, what else we got for midday?
So the one thing, obviously, that you have to look for at midday is the fact that there more than likely will be some sort of afternoon storm. Just know that it's going to happen. The thing about Florida, and I know everybody freaks out about this, you look at the weather forecast and you see that, there's a chance of rain every single day of your vacation or whatever. And people are like, oh no, my vacation is ruined. It's going to rain. And kind of the greatest thing about that fact, especially because it's the summer and it's definitely going to rain, is the fact that the rainstorms don't last very long. They are in and out, usually they last maybe an hour, if that. And so, that's just it's going to happen. So my best tip is, of course, I mentioned I have the umbrella, so I'm going to whip that sucker out when it starts raining. And I have a raincoat that I bought at Disney. Or you could do a poncho or whatever, and you just go. Because everybody else is going to be, hiding somewhere or whatever, and I'm on my way to, the next attraction or whatever. Now, it does make it a little more challenging when there's giant puddles that I have to kind of, hop through or whatever. And trust me, my dress ends up getting soaked, especially if it's just torrential downpour. And in those instances, I will kind of hang out for a little bit, or whatever, just try to wait it out. But at that point, I'll try to wait it out at, with shopping, or I'll try to wait it out, in the land pavilion where there's a ton of things to do. Or, the seas again, where there's a ton of things. I'll go to a place where there's a lot of things indoors. I'll go to a show that's indoors at that point or whatever. That way I'm, getting something accomplished. I'm still having fun while I'm in the parks, but I'm not just standing there waiting for the rainstorm to end, because that's what so many people do. They just stand there and wait and watch it rain. And it's just like, well, go out into the rain, go to a spot where that you're going to be able to spend some time there for a little bit, because it's going to make your trip that much better, because people are not going out in the rain. They're just,
and also like,
down.
Maybe it's just me, but like I always watch the radar when I'm done. I'm a weather nut, so I know, like, and I bought this like app that was like $30 for the radar. I mean, it was,
of course you did,
but it's the one like our weatherman uses whenever there's severe weather on TV.
Yeah.
Like on iPad, you see him showing it all the time and he's marking it up. So I bought it. I think it's called Radar Scope. And I mean, it is deadly accurate. I mean, it is like, you can see your like street.
Wow.
So when I'm at Orlando, like I can see when the rain is going to get to wherever I am. So like I strategically, I'm like that. Like if I know that big old, thunderstorm's coming, I will put myself in the, the living seas. So like I can out and see the manatees and ride, a couple ride a ride and just walk around, do a little shopping. But yeah, a little ounce of prevention, we put you, in dry shoes while everybody else is.
Yeah, definitely be prepared. You don't want to be like, trapped at the Hollywood studios in the biggest downpour. For some reason, whenever I'm at the studios, it rains. Like, I don't know what it is. I hear people say like, oh yeah, we got, how was your trip? Yeah, it was pretty good. But at the studios, it was like raining like crazy. I think there's just like a storm.
No, I agree with you. I've been the most drenched ever at the studios with a rainstorm. Yeah. And
you can't go anywhere. So I think I shared this story before, but Mike, I'm going to share it again. It involves you. We were with our families and it was just pouring. We were staying at the boardwalk and it was just pouring at the studios. And somehow me and Mike separated from our girls. They were going to do Tower of Terror. They were smart. They stayed covered. And Mike wanted a peanut butter and jelly shake.
Of course he did.
So he's walking to this tune-in lounge, and I don't know where I went, but somehow me and Mike got lost, and the visibility is zero. You cannot see anything. And at one point, me and Mike passed each other, shoulder to shoulder. We probably bumped into each other. We didn't even know.
We were in ponchos. You couldn't even you couldn't see, and we were in ponchos, so everybody looked the same. I mean, everybody looked like a mushroom or something. I
mean, we walked right by each other and we could not even see that we passed each other. I don't know how you even had that shake. With the
how are you drinking that?
I was holding it like it was holding goblet or something. It was under my
Baby Yoda.
Yes. Right? I just remember we all walked back to the boardwalk. I remember we went in that side entrance and we were just like, oh my God, we lived.
We have a selfie. I'm gonna share the selfie for the listeners on that one. But yeah, so be prepared is kind of what I was saying, Ricky. You were talking about that. Have a strategy. Where's the point I'm going to go to if it rains? Have my umbrella, have my poncho, because you're right, absolutely right, Ricky. It's going to rain, especially if it's in the summer.
It is going to rain. It will not ruin your vacation, though. I promise. I mean,
exactly.
But so many people are like, "Oh my gosh, my vacation is going to be ruined," because they see the weather forecast. It's not. Just go out there and have some fun. Just splash around. You're at Walt Disney World. Have fun.
All right. So the last thing I'll throw in here, because it's going to be a little bit of a shorter show, because it is midday. There's not a lot to talk about with this one. There'll be a little bit more for the third one at night. Is something you may not think about, but if you're staying on site and you have a Walt Disney Travel Company vacation package, which we book at the Magic for Less, you'll have a voucher for free mini golf, but those are only good until 4 p.m. So if you want to play for free, you got to play midday or in the morning. And, you can't play at night. You can play, of course, at night, but you got to pay. But if you want to play for free with your free vouchers, those are before 4 p.m. And that's, again, it's hot out there. You're in the sun a lot of times, but you're not in the overstimulating theme parks and there's a breeze. And Scott, you go and play putt.
I would just say, if you're going with kids, make sure they eat beforehand, because I don't know how many times my daughter has melted down playing mini golf. Because she's competitive, she wants to beat me, and I'm not going to give in a little bit. So then, if she's a little hungry, then she gets frustrated. Then she's going to get hangry on the mini golf course. And you don't want anyone throwing clubs, at the golf course.
Never want that.
Don't make it competitive. Just have fun, enjoy the course. Because I love being a golfer. I love the mini golf courses at Walt Disney World. They're fantastic.
That's exactly right. And the final word on today's show is from Vera Mike. He says, impressions de France during a thunderstorm for the win. Epcot's only opening day attraction still in existence.
But we need it to be open 100% of the time. No more Beauty and the Beast in the middle of an afternoon rainstorm. It's not going to be Impressions de France, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
No, that's true.
Seriously.
That's true.
Greatest attraction at Walt Disney World right there.
I'm playing the big organ. Yeah, it's awesome. All right, well, we're going to bounce out of here and wish you a very happy Friday. Thanks for staying with us. And if you have any tips, send those to me on Twitter at BeOurGuestMike, and I'll retweet those for the good of the cause so we can all make our next vacations even a little bit better. But thanks again for tuning in. And don't forget, our podcasts are always sponsored by the great folks over at the Magic for Less Travel. So check them out today for all your Disney trip planning needs, whether you're headed to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Adventures by Disney. The agents are standing by right now to help you plan an amazing trip. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to the patrons of our show. You guys make all this podcasting possible. You help us all plan great vacations. We do this as a community. We do this as a family, and we sure love that we get to have this podcast and just have fun talking Disney every week. So thank you for our support over on Patreon. If you'd like to join us and get that bonus show called Mike in the Midwest, come on over, patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Give Ricky a follow on the social. She's at Ricky Nibs, RIKKINIBS. Scott's at Epscott, EPSCOT. Give him a follow today. And I'm at Be Our Guest Mike. Give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter and help me get even a couple more followers to just put a smile on Mallory's face every time I get a follower. I'm like, hey, look, I got another follower. It's awesome. All right. Well, hey, we're at Disneyland for another little bit. So follow us today, tonight. It's going to be epic. And
I'll see you on the bayou, Mike.
Yeah, we'll see you on the bayou. See pirates and on the Matterhorn and macaroons and all kinds of stuff. Edelweiss, snacks, all that good stuff. We're going to have fun. So until we talk again on Monday, you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon. Yay. That was good. That was fun. We got midday stuff out of it. I don't know how
we actually ended up going pretty long with that one. It was pretty good.
I think so.
I know I was ready to cut that one at way early, but we kept going. So that was good.
I liked the rain. The rain was good, Ricky.
Thank you.
All of it was good.
You know what? That I can't lie. That was not my suggestion. That was definitely my husband's.
Was he like right off camera or something? Or
no, he asked me earlier. He's like, I told him I had a podcast tonight. He's like, oh, what are you talking about? And I told him, midday stuff. And he's like, oh, make sure you mention about bringing an umbrella. And I'm like, yes, that's genius. In the, for the midday rain. And I'm like, okay, so I've got something to talk about.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell anyone that my husband came up with an answer.
No, it was all good.
Brian's the man. We love him.
I know
it is crazy though. And I kind of get it, but it's nuts that you enter the park so late.
I do. I mean, if it's
that just drives me
crazy. Because my thought, I always say when I'm leaving and I've already done 8 attractions, I'm like, oh my God, we've already had a full day and look at the pool of people coming in.
That's exactly what I say. Look at these suckers coming into the pool park right now.
I'm about to go swimming.
That's me. I'm the sucker.
I'm
happy about
and
it.
You have fun doing it. So that's all that matters,
do.
Right?
I sure do. You know what? I just relax. I think that's the best part is that, I just relax and have a good time. And I don't, at this point, I don't take it too seriously anymore. So I'm like, whatever I can get done, I get done. And, you can't
take it too seriously. You just got to go out there and do the vacation that works for you.
I just go and have a good time and I sleep in and I enjoy a nice breakfast and lunch.
Plus to the point where we've ridden everything a million times.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So sleeping in is your thing. I mean, I will admit I sleep in some vacations too. But I will say one of my favorite things though is just being at the resort in the morning before all the chaos starts. I just love walking around the resort.
That's why I like running at the resorts because you see everything.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what my path is going to be at Disneyland because Mike, I'm doing those 2+ miles a day, so I want to continue that at Disneyland. So I'm trying to think.
I was just gonna hit the treadmill, but
yeah, I know. I like walking the ground, so I might find something where you walk to security, then you come back, and then I'll probably do a bunch of loops.
If I could find a mile loop, I'd run outside, but I just think I'd find it there.
It's gonna be tough at Disneyland Hotel.
Yeah, at Disneyland Hotel, that's gonna be tough. Yeah,
it's like Animal Kingdom Lodge.
You might be able to go around. They have the parking lot over.
I was gonna say it's gonna be the parking lot, basically.
Yeah, at on the way to Paradise Pier and everything like that.
That's true. You could
go that route over there.
You could get like on a main road and kind of run.
There's a pathway that we took. There was definitely a pathway that we took. I've
read by the wedding getting hit.
It was by the wedding pavilion that they have over there, and we went that way. And I think that's a pretty good loop. Hopefully, I don't know.
But you run out on the treadmill every day. That's what you're used to now.
Yeah, seriously, it's easier on my joints too.
Yeah,
I got old knees. Man,
you do.
I do, man. My knees crack. All right.
Okay.
I gotta eat. I gotta do 3 miles. What were we gonna say, Ricky?
No, I was just gonna say. So as far as recording goes,
we're good. When I get back,
we are good. You and Scott are gonna do one, right?
We're just gonna do one show for the 4th of July, and that'll be it.
Okay, and then
because we're gonna do Disney sports. We're gonna talk about sports stuff.
Perfect. I will not be here for that. And then the other question is we're recording the Monday that you get back, which will be the 11th.
Yeah, we'll record that day just like
normal. Okay, I just wanted to make sure
that
I had it right.
Much to talk about too because
you got Pam's gonna have the best stuff.
I know. We're gonna have to do like 5 shows.
So we'll probably talk about Pam's Wish cruise that week.
Because that'll be the first thing, because that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, that is tomorrow.
I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna watch the christening.
I know it's at 11.
At work.
Isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think somebody has a meeting at 11, so I think that the meeting that I need to have won't need to happen at 11. So I think I'm good.
I'm just gonna talk to the CEO of our company and just put it on every TV screen.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
She knows me by name. I know her. So
that's awesome.
Say, hey, Laura, how about we do this?
Yeah. So, okay. Then I will see you on the 11th. I hope you guys have so much fun.
Matterhorn. We said hello to the Yeti in there.
Yes, definitely do that. Harold. His name is Harold.
Is it Harold?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Harold. Yeah.
Dude, that Yeti is for real, man.
That Yeti is for real. Yeah.
No, but all spoilers. I
just said it's for. I said it's a real Yeti. It's not animatronic. It's a cool actual Yeti.
It's an actual Yeti. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I gotta go because I gotta go to the bathroom.
All right. See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye.